So Redfin says there are 500,000 more sellers of real estate than there are buyers. This is a huge change from just 3 years ago where there were 700,000 more buyers than sellers. So, again, Redfin says 500,000 more sellers than buyers. We have the doomers and crash bros telling us that the crash has started, the crash is here. But I want to talk to Cody. What does Cody do with this information, if anything at all? Cody, you've been in the real estate game for several years. You are very active. But what do you do with the information that there are more sellers than buyers?
Well, I'm definitely not changing anything I'm doing. However, what that tells me is it's a great time to be building a portfolio for folks who are getting started or people that have a few properties and are looking to continue growing what they've got. Now is an excellent time. And given the current rate environment, that either creates a lot of opportunity to get creative and either buy stuff subject to or look at seller financing or like a lease option, some different structures there, because there's going to be less demand from the buyer side. Now, I'm far from an economist, but what I found is you can buy in any market. It's just if you're competing with less people relative to the amount of deals, they're probably going to take a disrespectful offer more often than a few years ago.
Yeah, you know what's really funny about this? And again, I'm starting to love the crash bros and doomers because all they're doing is reducing our competition. Right when the market gets good. And what does a good market mean? More supply, less demand. It allows people who keep their head down to do more creative offers and frankly create amazing deals. In a market like 2022, where there were 700,000 more buyers than sellers, buyers, you and me, have almost no power. The only power we have is speed and cash. But in a market where there are no demand, where supply is dramatically up, where days on market are increasing, not only can we do a disrespectful offer on price, 20, 25, 30% below list, but we can start getting greedy and ask for terms, ask for credits, ask for rate buy downs, ask for the moon. Because what people don't realize is buyers make the deal. A seller puts a price on it, but that's nothing. The buyer makes the deal. And what most people fail to realize, and what all the crash bros fail to realize, is buyers markets like we are in today are the time to get your best deals. I do not want to revisit 2022. That is a crazy market. I love 2025 being the year of the investor. What do you think?
Well, I'm under contract on a 5-plex right now. It was on the market. I came in 20,000 under ask. They accepted. Did my inspection, waived feasibility, was happy. Insurance ended up coming back. They decided to go higher than I was told. And I said, hey, guys, I need a $6,500 credit as well. And you guys need to finance 15% in second position. And they said, okay.
Yeah.
There's opportunities.
This is what I want people to realize. This is the time to negotiate, get creative, make better wins. I'm curious, on that 15% seller second, what interest rate did you ask for?
I asked for 6. They accepted it at 8. But it's on such an insignificant amount.
Yeah.
For the cool thing about the 5-plex is I'm able to turn it into a 9-plex relatively easy. So I'm not super caught up, but because they're only financing 15% of the deal, I think the loan amount they're giving me is like 70,000. So a 2% delta on that is not a lot of money for a 5-unit.
No, it's a wonderful idea. And again, this is how you win in a buyer's market. I hope people are really taking heed. I mean, you're a young guy, Cody. You've been in this for a while, and you just see the world through how to create creative offers, right? Seller second, seller first, buy downs below list, get inspections. And oh, by the way, I need a $6,500 credit because insurance is too much. Thank you very much. That's a nice how do you do while you're in escrow. But they said yes.
They did, and they accepted the seller second. And the reason the seller second was needed is because I didn't really need it, but I'm boosting the value of the property by about 300 grand.
Mhm.
And so if I have to put 100 grand down, I 4x my money. If I can reduce that to 40,000 down, 40 turns into 340. The return
Right.
is ridiculous. And so it allowed me to get them what they wanted. I'm gonna have to pay them a little bit later on a portion of the money, but it also allowed me to get a massive return. I think it's
Yeah.
like 8x, 8.5x, which over the course of a couple of years, it's above market, which is what
No,
you talk about.
yeah, your yield on that is going to be amazing. I am curious. One of the things I've learned about you, and again, you have a playlist on this channel just called Cody, is you're a pretty conservative investor, and maybe not a lot of people see that. You shared the other day or several weeks ago that you have no less than an 18-month window to get this property up to where the kind of pro forma, and in this case, it's going from I don't know 5 to 9 units or 6 to 9. I forget what it is, but
Mhm.
what how long is the timeline? How long do you think it'll take for you to get to 9 units?
To actually get to 9 units is going to be sub 6 months. And the only reason it's going to take that long, this used to be a motel. It got converted to apartments. And the way they converted the apartments, the past owner, a couple owners ago, lived in these units. They went from one to the next. So they made one unit, but they kept all the exterior doors, all the kitchens, all the bathrooms. And so you've got a unit that's 2,400 square feet, a unit that's 1,800 square feet, a unit that's 1,000.
Oh
And
wow.
the 2,400 square foot unit is a carbon copy of 3,800 square foot units. And it has the exterior doors, all the windows, the egress, the plumbing, the electric. It's
Oh my
all done.
goodness. It's all oh
So
wow.
I have to put up a wall, and it's not even a big wall. They had the walls, and they just put a door in it. So I have to close that off. And the biggest issue with this deal, it's been on the market forever. The biggest issue with it is it's ugly. So people didn't want to go in and buy an old converted motel, but the money's there because those other big units are renting for like 1,200. The small unit there is renting for 11.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to give
Easy
up
money.
$100, but make an extra $4,000 a month.
Yeah, it's easy money. This is what people need to realize. In a buyer's market, you can negotiate lower price, which you did, seller financing, which you did, seller credits, which you did, and on market, right? A lot of people look at this and go, "Oh my God, Cody's going off market. He's door knocking. He's doing whatever." No, people, it was on market and ugly. It had lots of days on market, so he wrote up an offer that made sense. He's going to print money in this opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm going to be able to get the net operating income to 70,000 and change a year, pretty conservatively, and the total debt service between the seller note and the first mortgage, which is through a bank. Umpqua Bank allows seller seconds on commercial. That my total payment is going to be 36 a year. So I'm almost a 2 debt coverage ratio. And granted, I think the biggest variable is how long it takes to get out the tenant in that huge unit or relocate them. Because I don't want to just say, hey, they're month to month. And I don't want to be the guy that says, hey, you need to leave.
Right.
So I'm going to have to work with them. Luckily, I have other units over there, but that's the biggest variable. And I have a path within 18 months to get to a 1.5 debt coverage, but even better, I'm going to be at 2.
Yeah. That's amazing. Again, I just need people to realize we are in a buyer's market. Redfin is right. There are more sellers than buyers. But instead of being freaked out, instead of being scared, get off your ass, do the work, write creative offers, make them disrespectful, ask for credits, get seller seconds, and just go make deals of a lifetime. You can print money in this kind of environment if you get your head right, if you get your mindset right, and you just freaking do the work, right?
Yeah, and like your hat says, think. This deal was an ugly duckling. I want to get more cash flow. I was like, how could I do this? Well, let's look at this deal that's on the market. And my rent's $1,500. So this deal, once that's stabilized, will pay for 2x my rent.
There you go. There you go. Well, you know what? Perhaps next week, what we could do is maybe you could take some pictures, build a PowerPoint of this deal, and we could just show people, because I want people to realize, again, I've said it for years, I've lived this world. Buyers markets, which we are in, are where you can create deals of a lifetime, because most people are Chicken Little and listen to the fear and do nothing. But some of us, a couple of us, are going to get filthy, stinking rich. Cody, where can they find you?
Cody Davis Business Adventures on YouTube. And on that deal, we can do the presentation once it's closed. Appraisal's back this week, and then it's never closed until it is. Something can always happen.
I like it. I think that's wise advice. Never count your chickens till the deal is in, the ink is dry. I appreciate that. But let's plan on doing that when it happens, because I think people need to just see what is possible. Cody, you're amazing. Congrats.
Thanks. Talk to you later.